Right. Good morning, guys. Myself, it's Mohammed Bajra. We are today. We're going to talk about the benefits of Bria Stretto. I've been joined by Matthew Heaney from ProVu, Matt Rogers and Dave Watkins from CounterPath. I'm hoping the audio quality is fine now. We just had a bit of glitch in the early, to start with, so hopefully it should be all right. Just to do a bit more housekeeping before we move forward on if you're using Windows or mobile phones or tablets, on the right hand side panel, which is a GoToMeeting panel, there is an option for chat. If you have any questions during the webinar or any feedback or anything like that, just feel free to come back to us in the chat, and we will obviously try and help you with your questions and any inquiries at the end of the webinar. So just to quickly go through the agenda for today, we're gonna talk about a bit about ProVu Communications and CounterPath. It won't be much longer, just to keep it simple. Then we will move on to the main subject of the webinar, which is Introduction to CounterPath Stretto Platform. We will give you a brief introduction about it. So if you don't have any information or what Stretto is, we will discuss that option. Then we will move on to what the differences are between a standalone Bria softphone client and Bria Stretto client, and how it can benefit ITSPs and IT administrators. Moving on to that, we will talk a bit about the license types available from ProVu and the support charge and what they cover. As we have been asked this question quite a few times, so we think it is important to tell people why it is important to have support charges associated with the client licenses. Then we will pass you on to CounterPath, where these guys will talk about branding and the categories available with Stretto or without Stretto. And then we will obviously move on to summary and Q&A sessions. So just to give you a brief introduction about ProVu. ProVu was established in 1999. We started off as selling video phones, or ISDN video phones to be exact, and then we moved our emphasis into VoIP in 2002 when we took on the major distribution for SNOM. We were the first distributor for SNOM, and after that, obviously, we have grown over quite a long. We've come along the way, and now we are representing all the global brands in SIP market. Polycom, SNOM, J-Link. CounterPath obviously is the only softphone client manufacturer or developer we deal with. We are a privately owned company, and we have done a major investment in our facility in Huddersfield, in West Yorkshire. So it is quite an old mill, and we have invested a lot of money to convert it into a house or warehouse sort of thing. We are presently staffed 21. We were about 19 in the last webinar, so we have obviously grown over since then. So we are a growing company, and obviously we work with our distributors to present all this. So now I'll move on to the CounterPath guys to talk about CounterPath and obviously give you a brief introduction about it. So over to you guys.
Okay, thanks, Mo. So it's Dave Watkins speaking from CounterPath. Good morning, everybody. Just to let you know that CounterPath was originally founded back in the early 2000s. We had some very great success with some of our early products. We actually took part in the influencing and creation of the SIP standards through the IETF, and we have built a range of SIP standard soft phones which are considered to be extremely 100% SIP compliant and of very high quality. We're a very engineering-led company. We've got quite a high percentage of engineering to sales, and we have lots and lots of patents in our portfolio, as you can imagine, covering the SIP soft phones and all of the server management products that we provide. As it says on the slides, over 25 patents either granted or pending. So very much an engineering-led company. Obviously, we do have a sales team, of which I'm a part of with the pre-sales. But I think that's the message we'd like to give you. So we're an innovator, we're an engineering-led company, and we produce a range of really high-quality, fully SIP-compliant soft phones across a range of platforms. Okay. Thanks, Mo, for doing the slide change. So we provide through channel partners, service providers, and provide to enterprises. And these are some of our partner companies, and there's a mixture in there of three types. So some big names. You can see more for yourselves. We're very well recognised and very well adopted throughout the industry. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, thanks very much, Dave. Okay, so I'm Matt from ProVu. I'm one of the technical pre-sales engineers here. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about what the CounterPath Stretto platform actually is. So basically, the Stretto platform it's a unified communications platform, and it provides like provisioning. So with this, there's a cloud-managed portal that you can access online. There's messaging and presence, so there's options to add your own XMPP details in there if you'd like to use that. And there's collaboration, gateway, and reporting platform. Now, can I just hand over to you guys at CounterPath just to cover those last couple of points there?
Sure. Okay, bear with me a second, Matt. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, my colleague's called Matt. I'm so used to calling people Matt. Okay, so Stretto platform's completely agnostic to whatever network elements you've got. So we don't mind what your network is. We'll work with it. You can pick and choose the Stretto modules that you want. So we have a range of Stretto modules which we can talk about later on, which cover not only the basics of provisioning, but we also have a range of value-added features. I'll steal the thunder from later on in the presentation, but for instance, we have a module which provides you with statistical information about how your network's performing or how your voice clients are performing. We have another module which gives you the ability to take remote control of one of those remote SIP clients for troubleshooting and diagnosis. So there's a range of those modules. And we'll work with pretty much any platform because we're so, as I said on the previous slide, so fully SIP compliant. So we're extremely device and platform agnostic. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah. So basically that kind of covers the next few points there, really. So it does help like IT departments discover any issues before sort of the end user does. Because you can view like device logs via the portal. So if there's any problems with any of your customers' phones, you can send those device logs through to the portal and they can be accessed on there. Excuse me, sorry. So you can see any sort of any problem that's going on with maybe like SIP registration issues and things like that. And that kind of links on to the next point, really. It does enable IT departments to have hands-on access to the data. So you can view things like how many calls are being made. So you can kind of get an overview of the calls that have come in, the calls that have gone out, and so on. The platform, it's agnostic to existing network elements. So basically, it's a modular system with Stretto. So if you wanted to add extra add-on modules with it, you can do so. There are a few add-ons available, including XMPP messaging and presence. There's help desk assistance, screen sharing, and so on.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just going to add, Matthew, that for clarity, that the Stretto platform itself doesn't take part in the SIP conversation. It is a provisioning and management platform, so it's probably worth just reiterating that point. So back to you, Matthew. Just thought I'd chip in with that.
Thanks a lot for the input. Dave, just to give you some sort of feedback, I think there are a couple of people who are complaining about the audio quality from your end, and it is a bit choppy from our end as well.
Okay. I'll try dialing in on a different on a different number. Perhaps I'll use the dial number because I'm on a main GoToMeeting.
All right. Okay. Yeah, if you can try dialing a different one, that would be fantastic, please.
Okay, right. Just give me a minute to try doing that, then I'll go on mute for a second. Okay? Thanks
No problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Speak in a minute. Bye. Sorry about that, guys. They will be joining in again from a different conference room. So it will be all right. Over to you, Matthew.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll continue from that. I do apologise about that. Yeah, so it does work with any IP, IMS, or UC platform-based market. So it does use just standard SIP, and it's compatible with most of the ITSPs. Because I mean, Bria has been around for quite a while. There's many different versions of Bria available, and they all have been thoroughly tested with like the SIP protocol. Okay, so I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the benefits of the Bria Stretto platform. So you can easily manage and provision soft phone clients from anywhere. Now when I say anywhere, I literally mean anywhere. Because it's a cloud portal and you can access it from the web, as long as you've got internet access from wherever you are, you can web browse to the cloud portal and log in with your details. And that's basically where you'll manage all your users and all your clients. So you'll input the SIP details on there, you'll include your details to your XMPP server, and more. And just to cover a bit about upsell accounts as well. That's something that's very useful. So for example, if you're selling hardware phones, you can sort of bundle Bria together with it. So if you're going to sell, for example, a Snom D765, for example, to your customer, you could bundle together maybe a Bria mobile license with that. And basically what that means is they will then have that Snom phone, but you can also register the Bria application to a SIP account. So it kind of prevents like a limitation really. So if your customer is using the Snom phone whilst they're at the desk in the office, and then they need to bob out for the afternoon, maybe they need to go home or they're out at an event, they'll be able to log in on the mobile application and just carry on taking SIP calls.
So just to add to Matt's conversation, it is a sales pitch about upselling accounts. Basically, the idea is you can convert your solution into a unified communication solution. So anywhere, anytime, anywhere sort of thing. Where if you are an ITSP and selling SIP accounts, it's all about making, giving customer and user the flexibility of using your services anywhere around the world with a press of a button. So the idea is obviously they have a hard phone at home or a hard phone in office. If they want to move about with their SIP services, you can sell them a CounterPath Bria license, obviously, or mobile license, or whatever device license they want, and which basically means more SIP accounts or more accounts selling. So whenever, obviously, the idea is wherever they are, they can make a call. It will generate revenue for the ITSPs and who have all the resellers as well. So it is a way of upselling your services and your SIP accounts as well.
Thank you, Mo. Okay, so just to carry on with this, so template-based configuration. So on the portal, you can create different SIP templates. So by default, you just get the standard SIP template, which allows you to just register a SIP account. You can copy the SIP accounts over and have you can have multiple SIP templates. So if for example, you're going to be creating 10 users for a customer and they're all going to be registering to the same PBX provider, you can edit the template so that it includes those details. So then when you're creating the user, you'll select the template that you want to copy across, and it will basically also fill that template with the PBX details. So then all you'll have to pop in there is just the username and password, and so on. Second line support from ProVu. So you guys as reseller, we expect you to be the first line support. So if your customer's experiencing maybe an issue with a SIP account not registering on the device, we expect you to be able to sort of have a look into it and troubleshoot it a little bit yourselves, just to see if you can fix the problem. If it does seem to be like a problem that's maybe a little bit worse and it's not actually working, we have a second line support here at ProVu. And then if we can't sort of fix that at all, the third line support are the guys at CounterPath. So we've got reusable licenses but not transferable. So I'll just quickly explain this a little bit. So what I mean by that is when you buy a Bria license, you can create a domain. So you'll assign the licenses to a domain, and then if you've got another customer that you want to have a Bria license with, you can create another subdomain and so on. So you can have multiple subdomains for different customers. So if you buy, for example, a mobile license for one of your domains, so let's say abc.com, they can reuse that license within that subdomain, but they can't transfer it to a different one. So that kind of explains that one. You've got access to the latest features and updates. So when you purchase Bria Stretto from us, there is an annual support charge that you have to pay, and that basically grants you to the latest features and updates. So if there's an upgrade for the Bria Stretto application on an Android device or a desktop machine, you are eligible to get those upgrades free of charge. And that also counts for the cloud portal as well. If there's an upgrade for that, you'll also receive the upgrade for it. And one of the last benefits is locking important settings so that the end user cannot change it. So because there's a cloud-based portal, the SIP configuration and XMPP details and so on are all done on the cloud portal only. So if the end user logs in on Bria Stretto on the Windows application, for example, on the computer, they can view the SIP details, but they can't delete any, so it's completely grayed out and it's completely locked down. So they can't maybe remove the SIP password at all. It's completely locked down. And this sort of helps prevent any sort of IT issues occurring in regards to the customer saying, oh, I've accidentally deleted the password, are you okay to pop it back in again? It eliminates this process. Okay, so I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the differences between Bria and Bria Stretto. So Bria is a family name for a suite of softphone clients across a range of different platforms. So there's Bria 4 for the desktop clients, there's Bria for mobile, there's Bria for tablets, and then there's Bria Stretto that we distribute here at ProVu. They are all effectively the same thing, except the one that we distribute is a provisionable service. So with Bria 4, it isn't a provisionable device, it's just a standalone client. So you can't provision that from a cloud portal. The configuration is done on the device itself. So if you had an end user that had purchased the Bria on mobile, the configuration would have to be entered on the mobile device, which can kind of be sort of a very time-consuming task. And that's the beauty of Bria Stretto, really, with the provisioning on the web. Bria and Bria Stretto, as I've said, they are basically the same thing. They've all got the same technology, except one's provisionable and one isn't. Okay, and just some extra differences between Bria and Bria Stretto. So as you can see, cloud management is the first option. Yes, that is available with Bria Stretto. The provisioning is done via the cloud portal. With the standard Bria clients, you can't actually provision any of it. Software upgrades, they are included with Bria Stretto. As I've previously mentioned, you do pay the support charge, which covers your upgrades there. With the Bria clients, you don't get upgrades to the latest software. So if you did want to upgrade the standard Bria client, you would need to pay an extra fee in order to upgrade that. HD video calling, so you've got H.264 codec, that comes with Stretto. As with the Bria client, it actually doesn't. You do have to pay an extra charge for that. Presence and messaging clients, that's included with Stretto. Now, just to cover that, that is basically so that you can enter your own server details for your own XMPP server. CounterPath do offer a XMPP add-on where they can host the XMPP for you. I will talk about that a little bit later on. It's also included with the Bria client as well. Integration with Outlook is included with Bria Stretto. As with Bria, it is classed as an add-on. G729, that's included throughout the whole Bria range. So Bria Stretto, Bria 4 for desktop, and so on. Technical support charge, there is annual support charge. With the Bria client, you can only get support via the online forums. So if you've got a problem with the Bria client, you would need to raise the question on the online forum, and you'd have to await a response from somebody who will reply to you. and support for BYOD, that's supported with Stretto, and it isn't on the Bria client.
Yeah, so the idea of bring your own device, obviously it's a new sort of new concept, and it's mainly designed for bigger corporates. I'm sure if you guys have dealt with the bigger corporates, or even within your company, the idea is the companies used to provide, the sales guys, the support guys, and all the people there, with a mobile number, a SIM, and a mobile device. And the problem is it was a lot of investment to keep the products up to date, and obviously if the product breaks, you have to apply for get a replacement one. The concept of bring your own devices, people or the employees or the guys you hire, they come up with their own Android device or iOS device, and all you give them is this softphone client. And as long as they have access to Wi-Fi, 4G, 3G, they can still communicate within the organization. They can obviously use instant messaging if they have the the device. And also, as CounterPath provide is a future, that they think of future. So what they do is they basically make sure, and we will discuss that in a shortly in the support packages. Basically, they make sure that the application is available to download, install, or it's future-proof when iOS or Android guys come up with a new version of the operating system. So, or even with the Microsoft, let's say for example, if they come up with Windows 12 tomorrow, then obviously CounterPath will already have a version of Windows available to download. So it doesn't access, it doesn't do anything. So basically, as I said, I'm going a bit further away with it, but it's the support for BYOD is available with Bria Stretto. So if you change mobile phones, if the mobile phone breaks, all you have to do is download the application and log in with your login details, credentials, and that's it. The user will be up and running in no time. Whereas with Bria 4 or Bria, mobile or tablet, you have to configure it from scratch. And then obviously get it to work, and sometimes on occasion you do have to purchase a new license for it as well.
Okay, thank you, Mark. And then there's just the last one here. So add-on modules, you can purchase additional add-on modules with Stretto. So if you wanted to use the help desk assistant and screen sharing, they are available at an extra charge. With the Bria client, you can't actually purchase additional add-ons. Okay, so just to go over the license types that are available. So there's 3 license types available. So the first one is a user license. Now what this allows you to do is to log in on up to 4 devices of any mix. So you can log in on a desktop machine, you can log in on a mobile, a tablet client, not necessarily at the same time, but if you, for example, you're working in the office in the morning, so you were logged in on the desktop machine, and then you wanted to go and work from home later on, you can log in on mobile at home, and also a desktop machine at home if you need to. There's the device license. Now this means that you can only log in on one device. So if you bought a mobile license, you can only log in on an iPhone or Android device, and you wouldn't be able to log in on a second mobile device because you've already registered that license to that user, if that makes sense. We've got the new pay-as-you-go user license as well, so it's effectively exactly the same as the user license, with just slight differences. It's just a pay-as-you-go model. We will explain about that just on the next slide. Okay, so the pay-as-you-go model. So as I've mentioned, you can register up to 4 devices of any mix, so it's exactly the same as just a standard user license, just a monthly payment instead. So you pay a fixed amount per month per license. The support is included with the monthly charge, so that covers your upgrades to the latest versions and so on. You've still got your management from the online portal. RRP, they are £4.50 per license per month. There's no annual contract to sign up, so with the standard user license and device licenses, you are tied in for a yearly contract, so the support is yearly. With this, it's just a monthly subscription. So if you wanted to cancel, for example, a pay-as-you-go license, you would need to give us 30 days notice, and then we'll be able to cancel the service for you. And it is only available for UK customers as it goes via direct debit. If you do think you are interested in the pay-as-you-go model, then you can contact either myself or Mohammed. We will show contact details at the end if you do need to contact us at all.
Thanks, Matthew. Just to add to the pay-as-you-go model, basically we never really had this sort of model available, but as we deal with a lot of ITSPs where they do collect, the charges from their customers on a monthly basis, and obviously with a standard Bria user license, you are tied up with at least 12 months. With this license type, they obviously didn't want to tie up, so they wanted something which is, if they want to stop using it, they just stop using straight away, wait for 12 months for the contract to finish. So this works really well for people who collect the monthly payment from the customer, because they only pay, they pay us when they collect money from the customer. If they don't pay, obviously they give 30-day notice, and then we will cancel their license. So it really is a new feature which is generating interest, or getting interest from the resellers. So if you have, obviously, as I said, if you are interested in the solution, get in touch with myself or Matthew, and then we'll be able to have to take you forward with the whole solution.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm just going to go over what the support charges cover exactly. So ongoing software updates, that includes minor and major software releases. So if there's a new sort of Android software release, CounterPath will work to releasing a new version that is fully compatible if there's any sort of bugs or any issues. You are entitled to get those upgrades. Access to the cloud portal, and ongoing management of the Stretto licenses, which is linked in with the cloud portal. So it's your management of your users, creating users, and so on. Direct support from the ProVu technical team. And these last two steps, I'm just going to hand over to the guys at CounterPath just to explain these last two.
Dave, you there? Yeah. Dave? Right, I think we are. Yeah.
Hello. Sorry, I don't seem to be able to unmute myself from my cell phone, so I'm going to stick with the computer audio on the GoToMeeting. Can you hear me clearly enough?
No, it's still not right. Dave,
okay, I'm sorry. It's very difficult.
That's fine. I think what I will do is I'll try and cover these points anyways on this occasion.
Thank you, Mo.
And obviously we'll add more to it at the end of the webinar, if that's okay. It depends how you feel, really. So yeah, so I'll take up from Dave on this occasion. Yeah. So basically, the last 2 points really is about given the operating system these days are really changing sort of every monthly or weekly basis. People or manufacturers, developers, they're coming up with these new Android version releases, iOS releases with bug fixes and all sorts of stuff. And it is important, it is critical for counterparts to make sure it is, your device is not just down if you have upgraded, let's say, for example, from Android 2 to Android 4 or 6. Obviously, we're talking quite bad, but basically the idea is if you switch between devices, if you upgrade your software, Counterpart will have a release, up-to-date release, available for you to download if it's downloadable, or if it's just an upgrade, it is available to use straight away rather than having to wait for the new application to be available. So they spend a lot of money on R&D. They work closely with Android and Windows and Mac guys to make sure all the applications are available prior to the actual release for the end users. And as obviously Matt suggested, the support charges are mandatory, so you have to keep on paying. It's an annual thing, so you have to pay for annual support to keep using your licenses. If you don't pay the support charge, it will or CounterPath or ProVu will terminate the service.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the CounterPath branding that's available. So just to go over what it is exactly. So it's a solution that allows you to basically customize the Bria Stretto application. So if you or your customer wanted to customize Bria Stretto, you wanted to change maybe the logos on the splash screen, you wanted to change maybe the colors that the application uses, that can be arranged. Basically what would happen is you'd sort of gather the images together that you wanted to include, you'd let us know about the colors that you wanted to use, and that would be passed on to CounterPath, so they would basically design the application and create it for you. And then if you wanted to publish that into maybe the Google market, so you wanted it available on the Google Play Store, you wanted it available for iPhone, so on the Apple App Store, CounterPath can publish them on there, and that basically can be very useful. So if you do have a customer that has done this and they want this doing, they will be able to search for the application that's been published. So for example, if us at ProVu designed an application and we got this published, we could then search on Google Play or the Apple App Store for ProVu, and we would see basically the Bria Stretto application just with our ProVu name on it.
We will discuss the different branding options in a minute. The webinar is obviously to give you an idea about what we can do, so we're not going in depth in terms of the branding, colors and what you can do with branding. But the idea is you can purchase a branded version of CounterPath softphone clients for Windows, for desktop, Mac, iOS, from CounterPath, obviously through ProVu as well. There's a lot of people who are using branded clients. Coca-Cola, 8x8 as previously said, and there are quite a few people who are using branded clients from CounterPath. If you are interested in getting to know these companies or getting to know these software clients, get in touch with us, and we will probably try and share that information with you if possible. But there's a lot of big companies. Yes.
Oh, it's Dave. I managed to get unmuted. Excellent. Thank you for taking over at that point. Cheers. Appreciate it.
It's all right. Thank you. So the categories obviously explained. Dave, do you want to cover? I think the audio was much better now.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to. Yeah. So effectively, there's one category, but there are three different options really. Category 1 co-brand means that we give you the option to customize your colors, your logo, a number of features about the way that the client looks. But critically, the difference between Category 1 Co and Category 1 White Label is it still says powered by CounterPath on the client. And in a lot of cases, people will still want that, and we're very pleased when they do, of course. But some of our customers will want that removed, and that takes us to Category 1 White Label. So for an extra charge, we will remove the powered by CounterPath logo. So those are the two sort of main differences between, well, that is the difference between Cat 1 co-brand and Cat 1 White Label. You can also, in Cat 1, change the visibility of menus and various settings. There's a lot of detail on that we can look at. We're gradually introducing a portal-based system for providing the information for those branded clients. It's up and running for the mobiles, and it's on its way for desktops. So that's Category 1 co-brand and Category 1 White Label. Category 1 plus NRE is non-recurring engineering. So this is one-off engineering work, fully custom as it says on the slide. And we're prepared to do this on a case-by-case basis. What we do is we'll generate a statement of work with the guys at ProVu and with the end customer, and we'll scope out what the customer's request requires in terms of engineering, how many days it's going to cost, whether we can actually do it, because sometimes people will ask us to do stuff that unfortunately we can't do, but most of the time we can accommodate them. And we'll provide a quote back through ProVu and to the end customer to do that Cat 1 plus NRE. So just to reconfirm, NRE is non-recurring engineering. So hopefully that explains those three. Here are the branding options within Cat 1. So we can do labeling, of course, screen colors, customized icons, languages. There is a list of Category 1 languages which we provide. If you go outside of that list, we have a fairly comprehensive list, but obviously we occasionally do bump into somebody who wants a particularly unusual or non-mainstream language. We can do that. We can provide language strings for you to provide translations for, but that would come under an extra that would be NRE type work. As I said earlier, we can enable and configure features. We can change provisioning options, and we can hide and show various screens and settings. Configuration of codecs, all those things are available through the branding process. So hopefully that explains that reasonably well.
Thanks, Dave. Just to confirm, the audio was much more better, so that's really good. Thank you.
No problem.
Right. Okay. So that's it really for today. So just to give you a brief summary, and then we will move on to the Q&A session. Really is as the guys from CounterPath and ProVu will discuss what is Bria Stretto. So it is a soft client which is provisionable. It is exactly the underlying technology is exactly the same as a standalone version. So if you have experience with Bria 4, Bria Stretto is the same thing, but it is provisionable. It is manageable by a web browser or from a cloud system. So it is centrally controlled system. So you could be anywhere in the world, and if your customer complains or it's not working, all you do is log into the Stretto platform and see if there's something has been changed, or if you can obviously grab logs and everything like that. Bria Stretto is available in 3 different versions. So it is available as a mobile device, desktop, and tablet. All these pricings are the pricing for all these different devices are different. The user license is another one which is basically quite common in call center environments where people tend to keep on changing shifts because they may be running three different shifts, and people who log into the same machine changes. So it depends on your scenario, but it might be worth just thinking about how people would use the license. Generally, for a single user, people who are just using a single desktop all the time, a device license will do. But if you are thinking that the customer is going to be moving around in different products, different places, around different offices perhaps, then a user license might well do the trick for them. And obviously now we do have a pay-as-you-go model for the user license, which is quite economical, and obviously it is pay monthly, so you pay monthly fixed amount and to use the licenses. And all these licenses, as they are commercial offerings, they are actual going through the channel. There are actual margin for margins opportunities available for ITSPs, for resellers available, right? And obviously because they are renewable support available, then obviously there's a revenue, ongoing revenue there as well. With branding, you can develop and market your own branded software clients. Again, in the category 0, category 1, category, all these categories which they will explain. Depending on your requirements, you can purchase a branded version of clients for desktop, mobiles, or tablets, and obviously you can market your own branded client. Obviously, if you do want a CounterPath to fully customize the software client, then it is available as a Cat 1 non-recurring engineering option as well. But again, if you do have a requirement for that, get in touch with ourselves or either with CounterPath, and we will be happy to work with you on this project. So it is now, we will open it for questions and answers. I can see there's quite a few questions, so I'll start reading it. But if you do have any questions, on the chat option on the right hand side corner, you can obviously, or depending on what application you're using, there's a chat option. So please do send us a question, and then we will try and answer it now. Alternatively, obviously, the contact details for every person on this webinar are written. Obviously, Matt, Mohammed, Dave Watkins, and Matt Rogers. So please feel free to come back to us if you do have any further requirements, or if you can't cover, or if you don't remember, if you have questions after the webinar. So I'll start off with the questions. So just bear with me. There are quite a few, so I have to start from the first one, as it is first come first serve basis. So just bear with me 1 second. Okay. Are these add-ons? So obviously we talked about the Bria Stretto modules like XMPP, screen sharing, and the question is, are these add-ons chargeable or part of the standard charge? The add-ons we talked about XMPP. Now the client side of it is available. So XMPP client, which is an instant messaging protocol, the client side is included in price. But if you do want CounterPath to provide you a hosted service, hosted XMPP solution or service, it is chargeable per user, including anything else. So if you are interested in screen sharing, collaboration tool is something coming shortly. It's more like eventually it's going to be a LinkedIn sort of feature where you can collaborate within the company. I'm not sure exactly because it's a new feature. It will be introduced properly by us anyways. So all these add-ons are extra charged at an extra price. Right, so another question is, can we use a MAC code that will populate the details straight from our switch? Now, CounterPath Stretto client or system is a standalone system, but CounterPath do have an API access to the Stretto platform. So what it means is, if you do want to populate or create users, add users from your own system, so where basically you do want to automate the whole process, you can do that. If you are interested in API documentation and API access to the Stretto platform, please get in touch with us and we will provide you all the information you want. But it is possible to automate most of the things from the Stretto platform. Right, so there's another question. We run on a concurrent usage model. Do you have a such model? I'm not sure about the concurrent usage model, but basically, as the client itself is a single user device. So if you're talking about pay-as-you-go model, then obviously we have covered that pay-as-you-go model. But if you're talking about multiple SIP accounts registering to multiple devices, that's a different thing. Basically, in a user device solution, which is the user license, you can have any mix of 4 different devices. And what the idea is, obviously, 4 people can log in. A single user can log in up to 4 different devices, possibly with the same extension, but it entirely depends on the PBX or hosted solution. If the hosted solution supports multiple user registration or SIP registrations for the same account, then obviously it will work. But most of the ITSP, they don't support multiple user registration on 4 different devices. So in that case, it might not work. If you do have certain requirements where you want that sort of functionality, CounterPath do have an add-on module which is called line proxy. So what they do is they take a user off you, they take one user off you, and they provide you 4 different line keys. So what you can do is a single user in that case can log in from 4 different devices, and obviously they can receive calls and make calls with the same extension number. So it is something possible, but it's a bit more technical. And exactly, it depends on your ITSP and hosted PBX solution. Another question is, we have multiple white label resellers whereby we brand their portal. Is it possible to do that on this product range? As far as I'm aware, it's not possible. The CCS platform is really a single platform. When you log into Stretto, it just says Stretto. It's not. I'm sure it might be possible. I'll have to ask Dave for it really. But at the moment, everybody who logs into this provisioning system, it's the same login or same interface for all of them. Dave, would you say the same thing? Is it something possible?
I'm just thinking about it. It's a very good question. So just to reiterate, if I understand correctly, is the question, can we brand the Stretto portal?
That's correct. So add the logo, like for every single domain, we add a special logo for the customer, so it just looks like a white label service for the reseller.
it is possible. We would. This sounds bad, but we would generally only do it when there was a very large requirement for it. Obviously, because there are costs involved in doing it for us, and it's not part of our standard offer. But if it was a reasonable sized deal and it made financial sense for us to do so, and it was alongside branded Bria clients as well, then we would certainly look at that option. So I suppose the answer is really come to us via ProVu and talk to us about your requirements, and we'll do our best to accommodate. As I said earlier, we're a very engineering-led company, and we do try to customize the products as much as we can, but there are obviously there are economic constraints to what we can do. So it's also, I suppose, on the same thread, it's also possible, of course, to purchase through ProVu an on-premise version of Stretto. So if the issue is that you want to have a Stretto of your or Stretto provisioning or management platform of your own, it is possible for end users to buy on-premise Stretto through you guys at ProVu. I hope that answers the question successfully.
Thanks, Dave. So there's quite a few questions, so I'll probably ask you a bit more questions, actually.
Sure.
So the question is from Graham. Does the Stretto desktop client link with desk phone devices? I know that the Bria 4 app doesn't support this at the moment. So are you aware of it, apart from out of integration?
No, we don't. No.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. On the upfront slide, you indicate that BT is a CounterPath customer. How so, and what is supplied? Is it something you can share with us, or is it, do you have to sign an NDA for this sort of information?
Yeah, I know it sounds a bit cagey, but I wouldn't be prepared to share details of another customer's relationship with us, except under a non-disclosure agreement. And with that customer's agreement, and I'm sure your customers would feel the same about us sharing their information. So we have done a lot with BT, and I would love to be able to tell you all about it. Some of it I haven't any direct experience with, and some of it I do know about. But if you approach us on a specific basis via ProVu through an email or something, then we'll look at doing that under an NDA.
That's great. Thanks.
Sorry if that sounds a bit politician-ish.
Yeah, no, I know this can happen with BT, so right. So don't worry about that. So you covered it quite well. Right. So with branding, will the provisioning email still come from Stretto with Bria branding?
Will the provisioning email come from Stretto with? Yes, it would. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. What I mean is that if I pick one of them,
you can, of course, specify your own email address if that's what you mean. So you can specify the email address that it came from, if that's what you mean.
I guess so.
I think no. If you want to, I think we'll offer to take more detailed questions by email after, as well as answering them now. So So if the person that asked that isn't getting the full, complete answer, please drop the guys at ProVu an email with the detail, and I'll be happy to work with them to give you a full response if that's not sufficient information for you. Yeah. Okay.
That's great, Dave. I think that was the last of the questions anyway. So that's it, really, guys. We will obviously, if you're interested in obviously looking into this, recorded version of this, please get in touch with us. We'll provide you with the recorded version of the webinar. Obviously, everything, the details are in front of you. So if you do have any questions after this webinar, or if we've not managed to cover your points, we will obviously email you shortly to discuss that as well. Obviously, we do apologize for the audio problems we had initially, but hopefully we will cover. We have covered everything. So thanks, Dave and Matt. It was really useful to have you guys, and obviously we covered most people wanted to cover anyways. So thanks a lot, everyone, for joining the webinar. We'll be in touch shortly with a copy of PowerPoint presentation, and any questions we've not managed to answer, we'll be in touch with you personally to answer those questions. Thanks for that, and take care and bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.